Have you ever thought that the biggest weapon in trading is not profit, strategy, or indicators, but calmness and peace of mind? For many years, I myself thought that I would be able to make consistent profits only by doing more analysis, looking at more charts, adopting more strategies. But the market taught me repeatedly that the real battle was not with the chart, but with my own mind. I learned from my experience that every time I took a trade out of fear, greed, impatience, the loss was unavoidable. When I started observing my emotions, started paying attention to my reactions, that's when my trading began to change. In this video, I will show you how you can train your mind like Mark Douglas did and turn your inner peace into a weapon. How you can control fear and greed, avoid impulse trades, and make every decision with clarity and discipline. If you want your mind to remain stable and you want to be confident and calm in every market situation, then this video is for you. Watch this video completely because I will give you a step-by-step guide on how you can become consistent and profitable in trading by remaining calm from within. So let's understand one thing and how calmness can become your biggest weapon in trading. When I started trading like everyone else, I used to chase the market every day. As soon as I sat in front of the screen and the monitor in the morning, I had only one question in my mind: how much can I earn today? But every time I took a hurried trade, the market would teach me a lesson. At that time, I felt maybe my system was weak. Maybe I should change the indicator. Perhaps add an indicator. Perhaps the market was against me. But the truth was, I was against myself. I realized that my biggest fight was not with the price, but with my own mind. Whenever a trade went against me, restlessness would start to eat me up. I would stare at the chart. My heart would pound with every tick, and when a trade showed a small profit, I would exit quickly for fear that I might lose the opportunity. I was consistently trying to do something. But one day, suddenly a question arose in my mind: can I control the market? The answer was no. That day, for the first time, I stepped back from the screen and looked at myself. I understood that the market is just a mirror that shows my inner state. If I am calm inside, the market also appears clear to me. If I am agitated inside, the same chart confuses me. That day I learned that trading is not just a game of skill or strategy. It's a game of the state of mind. I opened my old trading journal and reread every loss. Every time there was the same pattern. Where I showed impatience, there was a loss. Where I remained calm and followed discipline, the results automatically turned out well. Then I realized that the real mistake was not in the market, it was in my reaction. I always wanted to understand the market quickly, but in reality, I wasn't able to understand myself. I decided on one thing within myself. From now on, I will try to defeat the market or no. I will try not to defeat the market. I will simply maintain calmness within myself because when my mind is calm, thoughts are clear. And when thoughts are clear, decisions automatically start moving in the right direction. Gradually, I realized that calmness is not taught in any book. It has to be felt. Earlier, I used to react to every small move. Now, I just observe. I have now started to see the market not as an enemy but as a teacher. When I saw this change within myself, my trading started to change too. I learned that even the most dangerous move in the market cannot harm you as long as you are calm inside. Because calmness is the space from which the correct action emerges. If you lose that space, every decision becomes filled with emotion. And emotions are the most expensive trade in the market. Now, I don't rush in trading. I know that the market will always give another chance, but if I lose my peace, I won't even be able to see that opportunity. Therefore, for me, the first goal of every day is not profit, but mental balance, because the chart speaks only when the mind is stable. Otherwise, what appears on the screen is not reality. It is just the noise inside of my mind. And that was the moment when I understood that the real power in trading is not knowledge, not indicators, but calmness. Gradually, as I started to become a little more stable inside, I realized that while the word calmness is easy to hear, it's equally difficult to live by. I used to think that being calm meant doing nothing, staying away from the screen, not taking trades. But real calmness means inner clarity, no matter what is happening on the outside. Thousands of things happen in the market every day. A sudden piece of news, a big move, unusual volume in a stock, and we immediately start reacting. Earlier I used to do the same. I felt that if I didn't take a trade right now, I would lose something, as if the world would end right there. But every time I took such trades, the result was the same: regret. Then I realized that the real challenge in the market is not missing an opportunity, but missing the mind. Once I was trading on a very volatile day. The chart was moving up and down like a boat in a storm. I was just observing the day. A voice kept coming inside me, "Take the entry. This opportunity will be gone." But I did nothing. I just kept watching. After a while, the market reversed. The same move that could have caused me a loss if I had entered, probably blown up my account. In that moment, I understood that calmness never stops you. It saves you. When I made this commitment to myself from within, that I would no longer react to every move, then I felt a new strength inside me. I only did what my system told me to do. Everything else was noise. Everything. The market's voice, the news channels breaking, social media's opinions are all noise, and calmness is when you can hear your inner voice even in the midst of noise. I also observed that the market offers two things. One is a real opportunity, and the other is an illusion of opportunity. The only difference is that the illusion always comes with urgency. It tells you to do it now, or you will regret it. And the real opportunity comes calmly, without noise. And when your mind is calm, you feel the difference between the two. But if there is unrest inside, you mistake every illusion for an opportunity, and that's where the losses begin. Being calm is not like a button that you press today, and every day everything changes, and it changes tomorrow, and so forth. It is a discipline, a daily practice. I used to tell myself every day, today I don't have to gain anything from the market. I just have to see how much I can observe myself. And this observation gradually became meditation. Whenever a trade went wrong, I would first focus on my breathing, a deep breath, and then I would check if this loss was disturbing me emotionally. If the answer was yes, because sometimes it was, I would not take the next trade. I understood that a loss is never the danger. Reacting is the danger. Calmness doesn't mean stopping. It means that every decision you make comes from understanding, not emotion. Earlier, after every loss, I wanted to prove that I was right. Now I accept the loss because I know it is part of the process. When there is calmness inside, acceptance becomes easy. And when there is acceptance, progress happens automatically. I now realize that every win and every loss in trading is just a test of actually how stable I am inside. If the mind is calm, no market can shake me. If the mind is unstable, no perfect setup can save me. That's why now my entire focus is not on the chart but on myself. Because clarity comes not from the chart but from consciousness. When I started to feel calmness little by little within myself, I realized another big truth. Trading never happens in the outside market. It always happens in the inner market. The chart you see on the screen is just a reflection of the mental state you are in. If there is fear inside, every red candle will feel like a threat to you. If there is greed inside, every green candle will sound like it's shouting at you, "Take the entry." I made the same mistake for many years. I thought that if I improved my system, my results would improve. But in reality, I needed to understand my own mind. After every loss, I would get angry and take the next trade. In that anger, that is called revenge trading. A situation where the trader is fighting not with the market, but with their emotions. And this was the place where I lost again and again and again. I remember once I took 3 consecutive losses. That day I told myself, that's it. This market cheats me every time. I sat down frustrated, but after a while I asked myself, is the market really cheating me, or am I cheating myself? And the answer was very clear. I was cheating myself because I broke my own rules every single time. The market was just doing what it had to do, going up, going down, and that is its nature. But I wanted it to move according to me. This was my illusion. As long as I was under the illusion that I could control the market, I could understand its flow. Gradually, I started observing my behavior, and every time I took a trade, I looked at my emotion more than the trade. I would ask myself, am I taking this trade out of excitement or clarity? Most of the time, the answer was excitement, and excitement can never become clarity. That's when I made the rule that if I feel even the slightest restlessness inside, I will not take a trade. Nope. I also understand that loss is a problem in itself. Loss is not a problem in itself. Of course not. The problem arises when the loss creates fear within me. Fear kills the thought process that can make the right decision. Fear forces me to exit on small profits and keep me trapped in big losses. Therefore, I trained myself to view a loss as feedback, not as punishment. When I adopted this perspective within myself, something changed. I started focusing not on the result of every trade, but on the execution of every trade. Because if the execution is correct, the result will eventually be correct. I shifted my focus from outcome to process, and from there, every day started becoming a little easier. Now, it wasn't perfect, but every day became a little easier. Now, after every loss, I would sit down and ask myself a question: did I lose my peace? If the answer was yes, I would walk away from the market, because I had seen that a disturbed mind can never become a consistent trader. No matter how perfect the strategy is, if the mind is unstable, the chart will also seem misleading. Throughout this journey, I understood that mastery in trading is not over the charts, but over emotions. The one who manages their emotions can make a profit with any system, and the one who cannot will incur losses even in the best setup. Calmness is not a luxury, it is a survival tool, and when you understand this, only then does real trading begin. When I started observing the fear, the anger, the impatience within myself, I realized that maintaining calmness is not as easy as it sounds, because inside every human being there is a fighter who takes every defeat as a challenge. And in trading, this very fighter becomes the biggest obstacle. The market is not a person that can be defeated. The market is an environment. It is a system that just keeps running, not according to you, but according to its own rules. But I had an ego inside that was unwilling to accept this. When there was a loss, I wanted to prove the market was wrong. I would think, this time I will show that I am right. And with this thought, I kept repeating the same mistake again and again. A time came when I asked myself, why do I repeat the same action after every loss? The answer slowly became clear: because there was no acceptance within me. I was unable to accept the market will always remain unpredictable. I wanted certainty, but the game of trading runs on uncertainty. Until the truth is accepted, calmness is impossible. The real fear of every trader is not loss, but the ego that asks, how can I be wrong? I had lived through this and lived through this. But when I understood that loss is not my enemy, but my teacher, and that ego within me slowly started to break. Now I don't avoid loss, I observe it. I look at what emotions arise within me at that moment: fear, anger, or restlessness, because that's where I learn how stable my mind is. Gradually, I notice that whenever I am calm, my focus remains clear. But as soon as the unrest inside increases, I start making mistakes, even small decisions. And I notice it even in small decisions. And this is true not only in trading, but in every area of life. The mind is agitated. And when it is, it looks at everything from the immediate perspective. I want it now. I have to prove it now. I have to change it now. But the market does not run on my emotions. It runs on probabilities. I made a simple rule for myself. Whenever I feel urgency inside, I do nothing. Because urgency always comes from emotion, not from logic. I saw many times that when I stayed calm, the same chart that earlier seemed complicated now looked very simple. The candles were the same, the pattern was the same, but the perception had changed. The perception is the real difference. And it only changes when the mind is stable or unstable. Everything can be seen in trading. Indicators, data, trend, but the thing that is not visible is what controls the most, and that is the mind state. If the mind is agitated, the charts look confusing even when they are clear. But when the mind is calm, clarity is seen even in chaos. Today, I clearly understand that the reason for failure in trading is never external. It's always internal. Impatience, ego, fear, and these three thrive only when there is a lack of peace. That's why now, for me, every loss, every mistake is like a mirror that introduces me to myself. If you truly want to succeed in the market, first learn to conquer yourself, because there is no race to win against the market. The real victory is when market does anything at once and you remain as calm inside as you were before. This is the state where consistency is born. This is the peace. This is the place from which real confidence comes, which is built not from strategy, but from stability. When I understood that the real work is not to understand the market, but to understand myself, then I started training my mind. I realized that if the mind is to be kept calm, it needs daily practice, just like a trader practices reading charts. I completely changed my routine before and after trading. Earlier, I would directly turn on the system, open the screen, jump to the chart. Now I don't do that. Now I start my day with preparation, not market preparation. Every morning I focus on my breath for 10 minutes. This was not a religious ritual. It was a mental preparation. When I observed the breath, I could see how restless my mind was. Sometimes the loss from yesterday would come into my mind, sometimes the eagerness for today's setup. And as soon as I watched those thoughts come in, they came and they would go, they gradually started to fade. These were the moments where calmness began. I taught myself that before entering the market, my mind should be empty, without expectation, without fear, without urgency, because if I am already attached to an outcome, every decision of mine will be biased. Therefore, I would tell myself, today my job is to just focus on the process, not the result. And this simple line became an anchor for me. Many times emotions would still surface during trading. If there was a loss or a missed opportunity was visible, the same old restlessness would arise in the body. But the difference now was that I would catch it. I would immediately get up from my chair, I would take a breath, and take my eyes off the chart for a while. Earlier I considered this a weakness, actually. Now I know this is maturity. Because when the mind is heated, every logic melts away. I noticed a very subtle thing within myself. When I am calm, my awareness increases. Earlier, I only looked at the price movement. Now I started understanding that behavior behind the price. Who is selling in a panic? Who is holding with patience? It all started to be felt. This was the moment when I learned that understanding the market does not come from the chart. It comes from the power of observation within yourself. Maintaining calmness is not easy because the market provokes you every moment. It brings every weakness inside you to the surface. But I had made a rule. I will not react. I will only respond. And there is a big difference between the two. Reaction is instant. It is uncontrolled. Response comes from awareness. When I give a calm response to a move, I remain detached from the result. And this detachment is the real freedom. Gradually, this calm state became my habit. Now I don't feel a thrill with every tick. I have clarity. Now I don't feel fear after seeing a loss. I feel curiosity. How my mind is behaving in this situation. I observe myself every day, and every observation makes me a little more stable. Today for me, success means balance, not profit. Because profit will always remain uncertain. But if the balance is stable, growth is certain. And when this understanding sinks in, trading no longer remains just a means of earning money. It becomes a journey of self-discovery. When calmness started becoming a habit with me, I realized that the effect of this change was visible not only on my trading, but in my entire life. Every move of the market used to determine my mood. If there was a profit, there was happiness. If there was a loss, there was disappointment. But now, these fluctuations, they do not disturb me. Now I know that every outcome is just a data point. I am neither at loss nor profit. I am just an observer who is learning to understand every situation. When the mind is calm, clarity becomes automatically. The situations that seemed complicated earlier now appear simple. Loss has now become feedback for me, not a failure. I observe where my patience breaks, where my ego starts speaking, where the fear inside me weakens the decision. This awareness is now my biggest strength. I notice that when I stay calm, I even accept small losses, because I know they're part of the process. Earlier, I considered every loss a challenge. Now I take it as an observation, and this perspective brought consistency within me. When you stop looking at every trade through the lens of winning or losing, only then do you truly begin to trade. I no longer overtrade because I know that every necessary action comes from silence. I no longer jump on every tick of the market because I don't have to understand every move. I just understand that this calm confidence does not come from any strategy. It only comes from calmness. Sometimes people ask me, aren't you afraid of missing an opportunity? No. Now I know every missed opportunity is a test of peace. If I rush every time, I will become the same old person who wanted control in the beginning. But trading is a game of surrender, not of control. The one who understands this never panics. Calmness taught me one more thing: patience. Now I don't just wait, I observe. Earlier there was frustration in waiting. Now there is focus in waiting. Earlier I used to wait for the move on the chart. Now I wait for the stability of my mind. Only when it is stable do I take action. And the surprising thing is that when I am calm, the accuracy of my decisions automatically increases. I also saw that the calmness makes you detach, but not cold. I am still connected on every move of the market, but not emotionally. I don't get upset by seeing a loss, nor do I get excited by seeing a profit. I just remain neutral. And this neutrality is the real power. Because when no outcome can shake you, only then can you make decisions correctly. Now I feel that the true identity of success in the market is not what is in your account, but what is in your mind. If your mind is stable, you will make the right decision every time, even in the wrong situation. If the mind is unstable, even the correct setup will lead you towards failure. Calmness taught me that the market is never chaos. Chaos is always inside. And when the noise inside ends, every move outside is heard clearly. When calmness became permanent within me, I realized that the real transformation was not in the action, but in awareness. Earlier I used to think that a perfect strategy or perfect timing would bring me consistency. But now I know that consistency is not the result of a technique, but of a state of mind. When your mind is stable, every decision comes with clarity, without any fear or greed. And this clarity shows you the right direction every time. I saw that the market was never the problem. The problem was always with my perception. Earlier, I used to view every movement as a threat. If the candle went down, panic. If it went up, excitement. But now I understand that the market just reflects how balanced I am inside. Now if the market fails, or if the market falls, I don't fall. I observe. Because now I know that uncertainty is not an enemy, but the truth. And the one who learns to be comfortable with this truth is the one who survives in the long run. Now I take every trade not for the outcome, but for the experience. Because every time I look at myself, how durable my patience is, how genuine my confidence is, and whether I am able to let go of control every time or not. This daily reflection is evolving me. It is not trading, it is a journey of self-awareness. I started telling myself, Aaron, the market doesn't defeat you every day. Your expectations defeat you. And when this truth sank in, fear and frustration automatically disappeared. Many times people ask, what does success mean to you? I say, inner peace. If I can close the chart peacefully even after taking a losing trade, that is my victory. Because profit is temporary, but the mindset is permanent. When you can remain calm in any situation, no move on the market can disturb you, and that's where the true freedom begins, I tell you. I have now put my energy into maintaining awareness, not chasing outcomes. Every morning before opening the chart, I ask myself a simple question. Have I come to observe today or to react? If the answer is to observe, then I have won. Because now for me, winning does not mean money, but the stability that remains within me, even after the market closes, every time. I now understand that the game of trading begins not with the chart, but with emotion. When you recognize your fear, greed, hope, and ego, every moment and every movement on that chart becomes readable. And this is the state where trading starts feeling effortless. Earlier I used to decode charts, now I decode myself. Earlier I used to chase every setup, now every setup comes to me because my mind no longer resists. It remains in the flow. Now I feel that winning the market does not mean defeating it, but moving with it. And for this, you don't have to control it, but accept it. I let go of control, and from that day the market started moving in my favor. Because now I was not against it, but with it. That was the moment when I understood that trading isn't about predicting the future. It is about being present in the now. Now every trade of mine is a meditation, where silence is my strategy, awareness is my indicator, and detachment is my stop loss. When these three things come together, profit automatically comes as a side effect. And perhaps this is the ultimate truth of trading. When you stop trying to gain something, that's when everything starts coming to you. If this was helpful for you, I would appreciate a subscribe, and go ahead and comment in the comments what stuck out the most to you. I'll see you next time. Happy trading.